me again, Jordan.
There we go.
Oh, there you are. What's up, dude?
Not much, dude. Didn't know if you blocked me again. Done
That
that a few
happened
times.
one time and you fucking deserved
I
it.
actually think that happened a few times, and I definitely deserve both.
Okay.
Okay, I'm just gonna window share yours.
Let me change the title to put you in it. Runeterra show featuring
can
the
tell where
second
everyone
best
lives?
aggro player.
Do you notice the two Canadians are wearing sweaters?
Alright, chat, is it working?
I wish I was in a place where I could wear a sweater. It's fucking like 100 degrees in California. I've had enough. I'm
enjoying it.
moving.
Let me know if my stream's like looking properly.
Oh, okay.
Solid,
I'm
man.
just ignoring
Solid.
the heat. I'm like I'm just wearing this long sleeve with like nothing under it, just like pretending it's not hot outside.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm
You
actually
gotta
wearing a
look cool.
t-shirt because I'm so sweaty because I worked out today. I went to the gym today,
Ooh,
lifted
Nick makes
weights
those
at the
gains.
gym. Yeah, you know, just the usual lifting weights at the gym with weights, very heavy.
You know, picking up
Wait,
very
Nick,
heavy
where
things,
are
putting
you
them back down,
located?
doing it a couple more times. Love
Are
it.
you East Coast, Nick, or are you West Coast?
I'm East Coast. I live in Maryland.
Okay. Okay. No challenging Nick to gym contests then.
I'd be like,
I'm actually I'm very out of shape right now. I haven't worked out. This is my first time working out since COVID was announced as like a concept.
Don't
Like
lie, man. You got
April.
some gains.
No.
I mean, hopefully.
You say it like that, and it sounds like it's an expansion pack. Like the world was unbalanced,
Yeah.
so we introduced COVID. Like fuck,
Yeah.
nerf everybody. We've had enough. Bye.
They nerfed me, dude. But I'm coming back, dude.
He's coming back.
They reverted. They're reverting to Patrick.
This is your season.
Yeah, this is my season. This is me. Want to hear a joke that I heard?
Yes.
It's not funny. Like at
Still
all.
want to hear it.
Alright.
What is that? Wait,
I
what
saw-
is that build up? Want to hear a
Hey.
joke? It's not funny.
It sucks ass, but
You gotta hype it up a bit more.
Cavemen be like, 5 is my year.
it's so dumb. Oh my! It's not even a joke. There's no punchline.
Dick, that was such
That's
a
a-
bad joke.
That's
Like,
an
We did, we
anti
just had to
joke.
listen to that.
It's just an anti joke.
So anyway,
Wish I could've
Runeterra.
muted.
Is that what we talk about
Oh,
here?
yeah, right.
Yeah, occasionally.
Are we
Not like
live?
often.
Yeah,
but
we've been live for like 3 minutes. Like as soon as Nick jumped in, I went live
Oh, cool.
Nice.
Hi guys, we're just fucking
Hello.
around. This is normal.
talking about making
What's up?
games.
You guys realize seasonals is 12 days away?
Sort of.
Yeah.
Wait, is it
Yeah.
actually?
Oh.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
something
thought it
like
was
that.
the 20th.
No,
The nine.
no. Top 32 is like the
Uh,
16th or something.
Oh, I have to learn the game.
Yeah.
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 Dude,
Or
I'm just
not.
showing up.
Yeah, or not, I guess.
You can just do what you always do and skip like the check-in and
Just
then be
do-
like,
No,
oh, I
no,
would have
no.
won.
I would have taken first
No,
again.
I'm actually like super tilted about not like tilted, but I don't think I took things as serious as I should have. So I'm gonna try this like every seasonal, like actually
Solid.
There you go.
be a normal human being and
You gotta
and
you gotta take one of them down. That way Mo can't give you shit anymore. Gotta get
Yeah,
that best aggro player
yeah,
title.
I
back.
outplaced him at Worlds. That's all that matters.
That's true.
Alright,
and then
alright,
and then you
solid,
can tell him that
solid.
like when you won seasonals, people were better by then.
Yeah,
That's
there
true.
we go.
That is a
Zero
good
day and
point.
age, dude.
hmm Yeah, it's coming up fast. I mean, I would say I'm not prepared, but I don't honestly plan on getting prepared. I'm just gonna show up with like decks I really want to play. Like I'm probably gonna
Fucker's
bring like
win again.
a version of Lee Sin. I'm gonna bring Shellfolk probably, and then some other nonsense that I want to play. Like I just want to enjoy it this time.
I'm not
You gonna
gonna
bring
do anything
Nami?
risky. Every season
Maybe.
I do something super risky and then it backfires.
Mhm.
I can't decide if I'm supposed to be on Nami or not. Like I
Me
picked
neither.
that deck up one day and it's like, oops, I win every game and it's not even close. Then I pick it up the next day, it's like, oh, they just removed 3 of my units and I folded.
Mhm.
Like, I can't decide if this deck is the most broken thing in the world or I shouldn't touch it with a 10-foot pole.
Yes.
Opinions?
I think like part of it
Yes.
is like how many games do you win when you don't draw Nami with like Zoe and Shelly and the matchup spreads. I also feel like it's kind of like gambling in a way because you have like a chance to just lose or a chance to just win. Like so, again, you can still win
Yeah.
with Zoe sometimes. We saw like Bay. I think I was watching one game with like a Zoe level up.
Oh yeah, in the qualifiers. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's like, are you gonna ban it? Because like if you don't ban it, you're also flipping a coin in the same regard of like you're bursting it. So you
Mhm.
kind of have to think like, am I a Nami gamer or am I not about the
I
Nami
mean,
thing?
Jordan pulled some nonsense in
That
wasn't flipping a coin.
obnoxious.
We did the actual math. I think it was like 0.008% or something. Like that was the level of stupidity that was.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
MTuck pointed out, he says Lee's just more consistent Nami. And I did play Lee in the Master Runeterra tournament, the single lim we just put on. It felt so good. It was like it was either banned or I just won.
Alright.
Like, people just aren't ready for it. And like, Minimorph it's fine. You know, it's a good card, but it's seeing like really low numbers right now. You know, maybe like
really like
Darkness.
Like,
Darkness
there are
and
only,
Tree,
there are only
right?
like
Yeah.
2 decks that play it, right?
Shellfolk and
Darkness
Darkness.
Tree.
And the
Oh, and
Shellfolk
Tree, yeah.
Bandle Tree.
Yeah, there's 3 of them.
Mhm.
But who's gonna show up with 3 Minimorph decks? Like,
Yeah.
who's that insane?
Also, like, Minimorph is like a 2 of, usually. Like, Darkness and Shellfolk I know run 2. And then, like, I won a game handedly where my opponent just cast 2 Minimorphs. Because
Mhm.
you can...
Wait, I'm bad talking with groups. I always interrupt people.
No, it's totally fine. Go for it. What's up?
No. I was listening to you. Sorry, bro.
Are you on pod right now, or are you podless?
I'm on pod. 2 pods. I trimmed 1.
Okay.
Format's a little fast, in my opinion. Honestly, I think Eye of the Dragon is just, like, absolutely cracked right now.
Yeah,
Like,
it's
it was
weird.
really
Wait,
bad
what is
for a
this
while.
right now?
Well, it was really
mean-
bad for a bit. It just, like, wasn't good.
Aggro's pretty good right now.
Eye of the Dragon is so good for Silent Raven. I know it's like
Yeah.
that not popular for Torment deck, but like the aggro version, I like if they play it, there's nothing you can do.
Mhm.
Also, what I was gonna ask was, do you run Bastion or is it trolling? Because like you can play Lee, but like a Minimorph immediately, but like do you run Bastion anyway, just in case you could like pre-commit it sometimes, or is it not worth it?
I have
Maybe
been
just
off
Moonblade.
Bastion for a while. I only really like Bastion when people are running like a lot of Frostbite effects or like maybe Vengeance, and that just hasn't been the case for a long time. So I'm off it. If they want to Minimorph my Lee, that's fine. I just go less all in on Lees. Like I'll just like vanilla kick. A lot of times I'll have like they'll know I have like a Zenith Blade in my hand, and I'll just go to my turn and just like Guiding Touch and kick something, because like
Yeah.
I'll get 3 damage in. You know, I'll kill their guy or whatever, even if they want a Minimorph. And then yeah, like MTuck's pointing out, I just all in Zoe. A lot of decks have like Pokestick and Make It Rains, but I'm running like, you know, you run the set of Pale Cascades and Twin Disciplines, plus like Zenith Blades. It's really easy to keep your Zoe alive. And then they have to
Eye of the
Minimorph
Dragon and
her.
Lee being good. Who
Mhm.
would've thought? That's
I know.
Yeah,
crazy.
crazy.
That never happens.
Yeah.
You know what I
brand new.
miss? I miss Karma Lee. Like if I want to play Lee, I want to be able to play the really stupid version, but I think aloof just means I can't do that right now.
Yeah.
It's
Maybe.
like,
Dude, a loop is so crazy. Like when I first was in the game, I was like, you know, this is a pretty good card. Like I'm cool with it though. The more I play, the more I'm like, man, like whatever loop comes down, it's in a region that generates so many cards. So one aloof can like give them +1 card advantage. Makes you feel like, why do I have 4 cards and they have like 7? Like, because on top of that, sometimes it's generated. Like if they got like Vandal City Mayor into aloof or like Mayor into aloof, if I dare, it's like, oh wow, like I'm so far behind. Like
Yeah.
how do I try and catch up?
I mean, that card's crazy.
It's so good. It's like, oh, they discarded my best card, but that's fine because like we're still doing pretty good on value. And then what you pointed out, you look up and you're like, how am I down on cards? Like,
That's a great game.
and they have a
I had
3/4. God damn it.
I had a game where I was playing for Spindle Tree, and they top decked, and I think it was Mayor into Telescope into Aloof that drew them a Telescope into like Bomber Twins and Preservarium or something.
Oh.
And because it's like the end of the game, but we all had mana over top decking. I was like, wow, just drew like 5 cards.
I guess you have a full board off of 1 card. Very nice.
Bro,
I mean,
it's a
I've-
2/2. Just Mystic Shot it. What are you doing? Come
Just
on.
Mystic
Duh.
Shot it, Nick.
Dies to Doomblade. It's not even good.
Yeah, right?
I've been on the other side of that sequence plenty. Like Mayor Telescope is my jam, man. Those are some pretty high level bullshit.
Yeah, it's gross.
So they started changing like Telescope to not get itself. Is that before seasonals? Or it's probably after, right?
It's after.
I don't think there's gonna be any like patch before seasons.
That's such like a easy thing you could just toss in there. Like maybe not in a coding
True.
perspective. I don't know how that works, but like you just be like, yeah, okay. Also, we're gonna do this and change this real quick before seasonals, and most people like wouldn't notice, and the rest would just go, yeah, okay. You know, like it wouldn't be that big of a deal. I think you could totally squeeze that in.
Maybe. They did actually do a change right before last seasonals. Like, I don't think anyone really noticed, but they made all the boat cards on summon instead of on play.
Oh, I did not
that
notice.
that's like
Not that I
ever
don't play it a
relevant,
single
Yeah.
but that is something they did.
So it's time to start playing Chronicle of Ruin on my Swain bow.
No, the
That's
first
the
thing I
plan
thought
here.
was the
Yeah,
Vaults
Swain.
of Helia card or whatever it is. I was like,
No, but on a similar topic, like right, Ruben's kind of been streaming just like on Sundays, and he mentioned how like the sort of like emergency patch they did like around Worlds was something that they might like try to do a little bit more, just like that kind of cadence, like I believe in addition to like the balance patches. But I don't think we're expecting anything for this seasonal.
I love that, as long as it's not like right before. Like it gives like at least 2 weeks, and it's good.
Yeah, 2 weeks is fine. But like 1 week, like the 4 days we had before Worlds was stressful as hell.
I'm a little bit of a degenerate. I kind of enjoyed that.
It's not stressful. It's not.
Didn't he
stressful
talk
to
about
kill
like
too.
that whole they've been talking about how they're gonna like revamp how they do nerfs and buffs and patches to like more frequent and stuff, and he talked about like that he's seen that like what's going on and like that's coming in the not too distant future on that like
I mean,
new
they've been
rollout
saying
or
that
whatever.
for like over a year now. So like,
Yeah, but like
I'm pretty sure they said the exact thing like 6 months ago. But I mean, I do believe them though. I mean, I'm saying
Yeah.
so.
I mean, something like things like this, like if you're gonna change one of your like core principles or like just like a way that you run your whole game or organization, like those are things that need a lot of planning and fleshing out. And like sometimes you have to do that whole process multiple times, which is kind of what we're seeing. So like, yeah, stuff takes time, but like we'd rather them take the time and like get it right than just like knee jerk.
That's
like
true.
some other games we won't mention.
I do think that I don't know. I have faith in the quality of patches like since the last since the last patch and like the hotfix patch. I feel we had that like little gray or that dark time where like we got like no changes or like and everyone's like what's going on here. But I think that since
And then
then
they made
like,
a new game.
yeah, and since then like they actually have made pretty impactful changes. Like and it all felt pretty solid. Like, people are like, oh Nick, how do you feel about the hotfix change? And I was like, well, I like all of it. Like everything's been great. The last patch, like the big one with Karma and Make It Rain, that was pretty cool.
That was awesome. That was like my literal favorite patch of the entire game. And I think all their patches have been more or less like spot on for me. I very rarely disagreed with anything, like 1 or 2 things. And the problem is the droughts we get in between sometimes when like we know there's a problem, right? We're like, please fix this. Tia Fizz is so goddamn good. Please fix this. And they're like, nah, it's probably fine. And we're like, please, dear God, fix this. And 3 months go by, and then they fix it. They do, and it's like great. But it's like, just make that 1 month later, you know? Just like bring
it's
it
cool
back.
that Ruben's streaming now because like he said like Nami was fine and Mayor was like not as good as people thought and stuff like that. And then like he streamed again the next week and people again were like, no, like Ruben, like Nami's really good. So is Mayor. He's like, yeah, okay, you guys might be right. So then I think that like this last week he said Nami was like one of the main things on the radar. So I don't know if it was like maybe it always was on the radar. Maybe thought people were slightly overrating it. But the point is, I like the streams because most games don't give you the you can't just talk to the devs like that.
Yeah, super open
You
about
can
it.
hear from all kinds of people. Like it's not like only about master players. Like a lot of people watch stream at Gold, and it's good to hear from those players too because those are for the biggest population of the game. So.
That's true.
I didn't
Another
know
thing
that
is
people
hard.
still thought Ruination was busted.
They do.
I hear about it all the time on my YouTube videos. I'm like, what? They're like, God,
How do you
Shadow
beat it?
Isles
It
Thriller
destroys
control is
all your units.
unbeatable. I'm like, bro, what?
These are right, dude. They're just
This
really
YouTube
fast.
comment brought to you from before Lysandra changes. Like,
Nah, dude.
Yeah.
They're right, dude. I'm with them. That's
Every match should be a race.
Withering Whale shouldn't heal.
I'm scared because Alan in Ruben's chat was asking if like they would like buff Ruination or Grasp and stuff to help control, and then he's like, yeah, I could probably do that. I was like, oh.
Oh God, no.
So I'm afraid.
Like the thing is, on one hand, that's definitely dangerous, but on the other hand, control's kind of fucked right now.
It's pretty bad,
Like,
yeah.
I haven't
Okay.
been able to play a Targon deck in months, man.
First off, I say the controllers are a lot better in tournaments, but okay, here's what I think. This is just my opinion for the future of the game. Obviously, right now, it's a little bit weaker. It's not like Ruination individually is broken. It's like the fork. See, that's why those cards are good. Is the fork that they create.
Well, yeah.
So if you fork for like less mana, like even if you're even forking them 1 turn earlier, that's pretty huge. I mean,
Yeah.
again, maybe they buff it and it's fine because controllers help, but
I don't think Ruination's a card that needs to get buffed. I think Ruination's totally fine.
I might be biased. This is a bit biased. Like I sort of say, I think the game's more fun when SF Rare is not as good. I know it's not like a real statement. It's just my opinion, but I've been enjoying the season a lot more for many reasons, and I think that played somewhat of a factor.
I do miss not SI Freljord in particular because that's more like answer, unstoppable win condition a bit, and that's like not as fun. So I'm with you there. What I do miss is the like mid-rangey control-y like grind fests. I love those.
Sorry,
Like
the Targon mirrors and stuff. I absolutely love those. Like I love. Yo, thank you so much for the raid, Kava. I really appreciate that, man. I love.
Mirrors are basically that.
Yeah, like the Draven, Caitlyn, Draven, Ezreal mirrors. Like I really like that. Before Lost Soul kind of, I don't know, I felt like it fucked it up a bit. It made it a bit weird.
They said they're gonna like change Lost Soul.
Yeah, it needs to be changed. That card's
In
insane.
what way? So I have a question to you guys. This is just kind of a fun question. If you guys don't have like a real topic right now,
We never have a real topic.
Okay.
No, we just sit
Okay.
here.
So I'm a Nightfall lover, right? So I was just thinking, would it be weird? Would it be too good to buff Kale Cascade back +2/+1 as a buff to Targon in general, but also simultaneously Nightfall?
Simultaneously what?
Nice.
I forgot that you
Nightfall.
could do that.
Like, do you guys think
Yeah.
Kale Cascade would be too good +2/+1?
I just don't think Nightfall would be the deck that goes off because of
Yeah, that
Cascade. I
doesn't-
feel like there's something else that would probably do better.
Nami.
I agree, but okay, let's look at the whole.
Ooh.
Let's say they nerf Nami, right? Would
Make her
buffing Kale
3/3 or
Cascade be
whatever.
Too much? Because like, if not Pale, like, what would you guys even do about Targon?
It needs Fangs back. Fangs needs to be.
Fix Fangs!
Yeah.
It's not that hard!
The Fangs plus Serpent nerf was so dumb.
Nah, Fangs is fine. Dude.
Fangs is fair also. I think
Okay, give
making
me
Fangs
Serpent
back
back
to a
then.
3/2 is like, that's not gonna like, making Fangs a 3/2 is gonna be like, oh, now we can play the deck, it's so good. You
No,
know?
but
Yeah.
fixing Serpent
The-
would, like,
the Fangs-
honestly,
Okay,
if
but wait,
Serpent-
but wait,
if
yeah.
Serpent was a 2/1 the entire
Serpent's
You actually
real
can't.
good.
You can't fix Serpent anymore because of Telescope with Poppy. Like, imagine like
Oh,
just playing
true.
Downstate,
Oh,
you
true.
Telescope and a Serpent,
Yeah.
Poppy, it's like GG. Like,
Good point. I think
honestly
Fangs is a
that
3/2
card
fine.
alone. Yeah, Fangs should be fine. I think that card alone though makes you can't rebuff Serpent.
I was
As
saying.
weird as it is, I like Serpent.
Yeah, no, it's a good card. I
It
was
is crap.
a big fan of like I was saying we needed to nerf Fangs, and I was playing Fangs. I was like, we need to either nerf Fangs or Serpent. And then imagine my surprise when patch day rolls around and they just killed my baby.
I don't know. I think Serpent's crazy. I think Fangs could be a 3/2 and that's fine. But
Yeah.
this Serpent being 2/1 is just nuts.
Yes, I was running decks, and one time I was running decks, it was like 3 Zoe, 3 Spacey Sketchers, like 3 Fangs. We were like
Yeah.
just grabbing
like a
Serpents all
million
day.
Serpents, yeah.
Funny enough, like
And, like iterative them too. 2 mana, 3 damage, right?
as much as I like don't like playing its lifesteal, obviously, like I play a lot of aggro. I always thought Fangs was fine. Like I really didn't. That was like the one
Yeah.
healing card where I was like, okay, this card's cracked, but like it's not polarized because it's not like there's Sun Forger's like just heal a bunch, right? This
Sun
card's, like, you
Forger
heal
single combat was like
some-
unstoppable. Yeah,
Yeah, right. But this card's like you heal some and get a card. I thought it was fine. Like
it's 4 mana.
I also like playing like I think it's a reasonable card.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Targon just got hit by too many things at the same time, which is fine. Targon was like king of the hill for too long. I'm
It got
with
put
him
in the
on that.
timeout corner with him. They took a Felio, so they put him in the timeout corner. That wasn't enough, so they took Target and they put the entire region in the timeout
Yeah, they're
corner
like,
with
maybe you go away for a bit. We also don't know what's coming later, but I do know that I play a lot of League, and Yumi is a champ that would be Bandle City Targon, most likely, and I could sense some probably disgusting things might happen with that champ. She lends herself to a broken kind of playstyle. Lots of
Yeah.
healing,
I could definitely see it.
probably
She
cheap.
doesn't have to be obnoxious in every game she's
She's
in.
got
She
the
will be.
Targon thing going on.
She will be a pain in the
Yumi.
ass.
Yumi Soraka? Yumi
Yeah, something like
Soraka?
that.
Yeah, I was thinking, if you used to rocker like you need Tom, but I doubt you'd replace.
Mhm. We don't know if she's going to be like well, we don't know anything about her at all, right? I'm totally speculating. But it will be hopefully nice to have a Targon champ that's not like Zoe or unplayable. Like
Well,
Targon champs are so
yeah.
bad that sometimes I will just not run a second champ.
I feel like if Yumi can be discounted by Bandle City Mayor, she can't be that bad. She probably will be
wanna-
Targon Bandle.
Nick,
Yeah.
you want to talk about buffing Nightfall? The way to buff Nightfall is not to touch Pale Cascade, because that just like gives all of the random ass cantrip decks like all of the things they want forever. Just
Mhm.
buff Diana. Like, what did
God,
that girl
Diana's
do?
so
okay,
bad.
Okay. Well, first off, in my opinion, I think Stalking Shadows needs to be reverted. Like, there's no doubt in my mind.
Me
Besides
too.
that, I think Diana should get her challenger on level up. It's annoying me to level her up and then do another Nightfall. It's like
Yeah.
it's not that hard of a condition, but like on the turn you do it, you often only have enough to get exactly 4. So it's
And that's in Nightfall decks. In non-Nightfall decks that just want to run Diana, even if you run like 12 Nightfall effects or whatever, you're not doing it. Like, you might level her, and then you're like, great, I don't have Challenger, and she's just a 3/3. This is awful.
Yeah.
Like, if they reverse stalking and then buff that to get Challenger level, that would still be like low tier 2 at best.
What even are the other Targon champs? Like, what do they exist? I honestly don't know.
It's like Soraka, Terry.
We don't.
Yeah.
They all
Soul.
like Soraka exists
Leona.
because she lives in her own world.
Yeah,
but,
speaking
like,
of Leona, I'm kind of interested in how they gave her overwhelm and then took it back. Like, as if
It was
they
a
thought it'd be too good. They
bug.
could've tested
So
it.
sad.
It was a bug. But I was
That was a
immediately
bug.
playing it. I was like, this is the change we need to
Sure.
Leona. I'm
Yeah, it
so
feels
happy
fine,
they
right?
did this. And then they're like, yo, guys, our bad. We didn't mean to do that.
Yeah.
And I was like,
It's
God
like-
damn it.
The normal beatdown strat is pretty fair, like in Runeterra nowadays.
Mhm.
As long as you're not like,
Yeah.
like discounted cards for Mayor. So I feel like giving your overwhelm is a good way to win. And also like, you can get some cool combos with Morning Light, buff up your unit as overwhelm, stun up the blockers, and maybe even finish them off. But with Leona, I feel like if you actually play a full Daybreak deck, they could often just say, okay, I'll live this attack and then redevelop. And it just doesn't really
And like,
Yeah.
I just-
you're like really fair. Like, your
Yeah,
deck's
it's just so
really
fair.
fair. And
I just wanted to
Yeah.
play Leona with Field of Rush, man. Just like stun them for a couple turns, overwhelm.
Oh, I got you.
there's so many times where I'm trying to make Leona work.
Leona deck.
Just
Whenever
never
they
does.
buff
Yes.
it with overwhelm.
Yes.
I know he's
There
gonna
you
make it.
go.
What was the Leona bug? They had her she had overwhelm on like level up or something, and then they said it was a bug and they took it away.
yeah.
For a
Which
hot
means
second.
now I will never get to Battle Fury my Leona, so I
No.
must cry.
Sorry.
You can still do it if you want.
It's just really bad.
Just-
Zenith played
Save.
first.
Oh
Yeah.
god.
Zenith.
Just cost 3 extra mana.
Zenith Blade was designed for that deck.
It was. It's just horrible. in it.
Daybreak.
It's just,
It's just really bad. I thought about that the other day. I was like, someone was like, why don't you play Zenith Blade in your like this is weeks, months ago, right? Why don't you play Zenith Blade in your Leona deck? And I was like, it clearly doesn't belong in a Leona deck. And they were like, it was designed for a Leona deck. And I like read the card. I was like, you're right, it was. It's just not good enough.
It just like 3 mana to give mid-range static things.
Yeah. Like
overwhelm
it
isn't
make it
enough.
actually hit your opponent for a small amount of damage now.
Yeah, you're trying to like kill people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could make Zenith Blade 2 mana if Lee Sin didn't exist. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's-
Actually, that might be too
there's a
good.
problem there.
That might be a little too good. That's some serious value because you're just gonna cast like you just cast 2 in a turn for 4 mana. Boom, boom, 1 card. That's really good.
It creates some really cool new archetypes. Like, I don't know if it would be busted, but like, I don't know. Like, Akshan, Tarek, Targon sounds like it'd be really fun.
It could. I'd probably immediately try to bring back like the Leona Demacia
That's scary.
decks.
They're just not gonna nerf Lee though. It's like
No.
now that like they already did nerf Lee for a while, and now that there's like mini morph and aloof and stuff, they're gonna be less likely. Now those are like reasons not to, but it's just like obviously they're good against Lee.
I
Mhm.
don't
Less
I don't
for
think
reasons.
Lee needs a nerf from like a power level perspective. Like, I think honestly from a power level perspective, we're in one of the best metagames we've ever had, like actually ever. But from a design space perspective, like in kind of the same way we put Fiora in the timeout corner, I would not mind seeing Lee take a break.
Yeah, this is like the weakest Lee's been in a while, and he's definitely fair. It's just like I don't know. This is just I'm very vocal about this. Everyone knows how I feel, but decks like S.I. Freyr and Lee are my least favorite because they're so polarizing. Where I feel my decisions matter slightly less because their matchup spreads are so in favor of one way or the other. And it's tough to beat.
I gotta side with MTuck in the chat here. I think Lee's doesn't need to be put in the timeout corner. Like Lee's time was like 5 months ago.
Yeah,
Like,
he's fine right now.
He
but
he
we'll see what
barely
happens
sees
if he
play. You know, you have people like MTuck and myself still slugging it out there sometimes, but most people they're just playing like Nami or something, right? I don't think Lee's ever seen less play since I've started playing the game.
Okay.
That's true.
I have a question for everyone. So if like Burn and Aggro is doing really good right now, we're talking about how like Eye is really good against that and stuff. Where do you guys see the meta going between now? Because like if seasonals was today, I think a lot of people would play Aggro and would play Burn and probably do quite well. But we have like whatever it is, 12 days until seasonals, and I feel like the format will probably start to rotate a bit more. Where we'll see people like a lot of people pick up aggro, and then like some people start to counter them. But like, where do you go to try and do
I
that?
have an opinion if you want to hear mine first, I guess.
Yep,
No, I
go-
don't. Next.
run it.
Aggro is literally, I'll just say it, aggro is literally the noob killer. It is not an actual, like in a tournament, you see a lot less aggro and it doesn't go as far. I mean, obviously, Moto that one, I mean, it's still good. But the reason is like, how do I put it? The average master player is not on the same level as like the people who consistently top seasonals. And those people know how to beat aggro. They know how to deal with aggro. Like, this game is pretty skillful overall. To where, like, especially a deck is punching as aggro, if you mess up like one block or like one decision in tempo or when to go to board or when to do this and that, like, you can lose. So I feel like aggro generally isn't actually as good as it shows. It's just on ladder you play versus like all kinds of people. Where like, you know, again, the average master player might not fully know how to play against aggro like perfectly. And
I mean,
don't get me wrong,
we
it's very
saw-
good. It's very good.
We've seen it get some really serious tournament results too,
Yeah,
right?
We crushed our
Like,
tournament yesterday.
I
all-
agree.
in the-
It's less often. Okay, this is not this format, but in general, it's less often. Like whenever aggro is good, people
Yeah.
make a huge deal about it. But like you see decks like control and lead and stuff do good like every single time.
Yeah, no, I agree with you.
that's
I
all we're
think
saying, though.
this thing is a little different, like currently where we're at. I think aggro might just be a little too powerful, or like the aggro mid-rangey like soup we're seeing, where it's basically like Poppy Poppy Mayor is like just too good. But
Yeah.
in general, I do really agree with you. Like whenever we look at stats, people always point out Pirate aggro's at 59% win rate, guys. Why don't you bring that to a tournament? And we're like, oh,
And
because
you
it's
play
not
it,
good
it's
right
like-
now.
It's so average. Like it's
Yeah.
good, but it's average.
My
My question is, because I'm uneducated to the tournament results, you said they were aggro to good. So what's the lineup? Like do you put Ziggs and Poppy together?
Mhm.
And then,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah, and then
And
like
then you play
Ping City,
King City,
Scion.
and then you play Scion. Yeah.
It's like really strong.
that seems pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
not
I
like,
like
like a traditional like super aggro lineup, but
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
definitely quite aggressive. It
There's-
definitely just tries
The
to
thing
hit the
about that
face.
is like I think it's a good lineup, but I don't think it's like I think it's as good as the other good lineups. Does that make sense? It doesn't sound like an unbeatable lineup.
It's not
Yeah,
unbeatable,
I don't
no.
think it's
But there's not a
unbeatable.
lot of decks that like beat these strategies like all the time. Like I had Zoe Lee in my lineup, which I think is like so good against like all of those decks. But it just gets banned, and because I'm already playing Zoe, I can't run Nami. I can't run Zoe Nami. I ran Fizz Nami. And then what do I run as a third deck? Like I chose Shellfolk just because I wanted to play Shellfolk, but there's no like really other third deck that does really well into these things. Like I think MTuck pointed out, FTR is a huge dog to Ziggs Poppy, just because you can't kill anything on curve. And
As of right now, it feels like that's a pretty good lineup, and I definitely see where I was coming from. So I don't play towards as much as you guys, so obviously like that sounds great. So I want to hear more about your perspective. I guess you guys would know.
Yeah,
How do you
it's
counter
not-
that? I'm not the guy for that. So.
It's not
Just you
like
guys.
it's not like we're saying that it's a problem that aggro is strong, right? The question is just like what do we
do we do
the
about it?
metagame look like going into the
Yeah,
next
like
couple
how do you
weeks?
beat that if you expect that in the field?
Mhm.
Like,
And I think honestly, and this might sound a little weird, I think that it's probably going to pick up steam rather than losing it like we might expect it to. I think the Ziggs Poppy list, Ziggs Poppy Nox specifically, is really, really cracked, and I think a lot of people are either going to be having a lot of experience with that from ladder and looking to build lineups around it, or they're going to be having third deck syndrome, which happens all the time at seasonals. Let me tell you, I'm having it right now. And they're going to go, okay, what do I choose? This has a high percentage next to a bunch of things. Fuck it, I'm going to throw decimates at them. Right?
If I'm honest, like I don't think you're third deck syndroming your Poppy as your
Yeah.
third deck. Your Poppy's already in there.
I think it'd be
I
Ping City
no,
would be the
well,
third deck.
I'm having
see aggro being
having
good
third
this
deck
season, though.
syndrome to the point where I'm considering just playing that deck without Poppy and just like playing Ziggs and a bunch of fucking burn spells.
Honestly, it's
probably
fine.
fine.
That'd still be very
Like-
good. Just put like I don't know some shitty card like Darius in there, and you'd still be okay.
Or just like lecturing
Yeah.
Yordle. I don't know.
Yeah.
Actually, like that brings me to a point. You guys have seen the Ruben deck where he plays like Draven Ezreal, except he
The
actually
one
just
Ezreal?
plays one Ezreal and plays Burn. Why don't we just play Fizz Poppy at like and pretend it's Vandal tree, and then you just play the
That's
Ziggs
At
Poppy
seasonals
deck.
and open
Yeah,
deck
ladder.
lists.
Not at seasonals. of
Okay,
course, but
yeah,
I'm
in
just saying,
general.
like, you could
As
choose
an
so many
open
ladder
deck list?
I
players.
mean, that's
doing
basically
that.
what's happening in EU Masters, right?
Yeah, that's
There's
true.
people
Yeah.
bringing Ziggs Poppy and its tree,
well,
or like anything like that.
I do think aggro definitely sounds way better. Like right now, as you guys are explaining it, that sounds probably the best aggro's been. I feel like can't you just ban like Scion Draven though, and like is it really that hard to beat the Ziggs? So, I don't know. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
The Ziggs
I don't-
deck
I
is
mean, I
like
get
the
it.
pillar of the thing.
I
It's-
play on ladder, and like people aren't as seasoned as like the top tournament players, but I beat a Ziggs Poppy deck like almost every time, and I'm still trying to figure out why it's so good.
Hmm.
Like it wins sometimes, but
I don't know. I think it's just
I'm not
a
sold.
It's just
generally powerful deck.
just
like, it has a lot of the
outstats
good
you.
things that
Yeah,
Poppy
and it does the
does,
mayor
and then it
thing.
has
So good at doing tempo stuff.
I do think Ziggs is cracked in aggro. It's like he probably wasn't designed for aggro, but the fact he's a 3/4 is like,
Yeah.
oh, I block him.
Nice.
I
With
lose the
extra
card if I
damage,
don't.
and you can't
Yeah.
block very well. Yeah, it's insane. I have the Dragon's the
that's
best
the
card in
scary
the game
part.
against that deck, and you just can't play it in many things, unfortunately.
I thought Ruben described Ziggs as like a champion for aggro players. Was something he wrote down.
He did.
Like,
He said it's supposed to be versatile, so I guess it
Yeah.
was intended.
Ruben knows what's
Yeah.
up.
No, but I think it's interesting that like a lot of like tournament players, they just kind of don't like playing aggro because they kind of feel like they don't have a lot of agency.
Yeah.
And I think that's not really like accurate. I think that, like aggro is actually pretty kind of hard, and the good aggro players do show, and I think it's kind of like a little silly that a lot of tournament players just kind of ignore it completely as a style, because I think it has its place in pretty much every meta. Like if people aren't expecting aggro, it's gonna have a place because it's doing something that other people aren't really preparing for as much, which is always going to give you an advantage. And usually there's enough good aggro decks.
Yeah, I've been saying this for a long time. Aggro's way harder to think because it's more punishing. Like if you, okay, decisions are easier, but if you mess one up, then
You're
like,
done.
lose. Where,
You're done.
Exactly.
Yeah, you just lose.
But I feel other decks like control decks, like you watch people misplay, even in like seasonals, you watch people misplay all the time. But like they still are in the game. If you mess with aggro, it's like it snowballs. The whole thing snowballs.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
there was
You
a
lose
really
your openings.
interesting, like I don't know if I call it a study because it sounds like super scientific and it probably wasn't, but an interesting Twitter thing
Harvard
that came out lately
did
from
some
one
research
of
on
the
Runeterra.
statisticians, where they compared decks with the highest differential between average win rate and top player with the deck win rate, and actually I think the highest one was Poppy Lulu. So
I love that deck. My favorite deck in season.
That I
Nice.
struggle with that deck. I mean, like you
Oh,
guys
I
know
love it.
because I
It's like
tested with
Bannerman
you.
2.0. It's like cracked Bannerman. I love Bannerman
I
so
fucking
much.
hated Bannerman.
It reminds me of Scouts and Bannerman, which I played for like so.
That's literally
Like
my
the
least
Vandal
favorite deck
one, or
that's
the-
ever
or the
existed.
Ionia?
No, the Ionia one, and I think that kind of
Oh,
points
okay,
out
yeah.
one of the biggest things that is such a falsely held belief by a lot of like card gaming community in general, right? Because as soon as we actually go and we take the stats on this, if we were going to say what's the hardest deck to play, how could we prove that? Then the question we would have to ask is between, and this is the question they did ask, at least by me, I think it's the right question, between the average play rate from a, Masters player who's still pretty fucking good at the game, and the top win percentage of the player who's going to be best at this deck on ladder, where's the highest differential? I think that should reasonably tell us what the hardest to play decks are. And I think we've kind of, at least by me, conclusively proven it's not just control all the time. That's not how that works.
Mhm.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I feel like if you ask a gold player, they'll tell you aggro's face rolly and super easy. But like any tournament player will probably be of the same opinion, where like while aggro has less actual decisions, they're so much more impactful.
So here's what I think as a long-term aggro player. Okay, I think control is the easiest. Call it a hot take, whatever. Because they get to play with knowns more than unknowns. What I mean by that is like they're usually the one who passes first, so your opponent has to act first, and then you can react accordingly. Whereas like so your opponent plays their cards face up a lot of the time. You can play into them. The hardest part is being mana efficient, where if you tap like 1 mana under, and you could just like be screwed or not have enough mana for the next turn or whatever you're trying to do. But I do feel like control is definitely the easiest because you get the knowns. Whereas aggro you have to play first and commit first, and it's a lot of order operation to play with knowns. But I think combo is usually the hardest because traditionally in Runeterra, combo usually is all in on a certain card like Nami or Lee. And it's like the hard part is you don't draw those cards. How do you win? And that's probably the hardest Runeterra is watching Lee players win without drawing Lee, or like 9 players draw without Nami.
For sure.
So.
I would
That's my
say
take.
traditionally in card games, combo's probably the most difficult archetype to like really be good at. Not like I don't know, something like Reanimator tends to be pretty easy. It's just like 2-card combos are a bit different than like the really intricate combo decks.
For people who don't play MTG, Reanimator means you're going to try to play Field Rush on turn 3 and hope it works. And if it doesn't, you lose.
That's so a little less.
It's not a
skill
very good
involved.
explanation.
It's pretty close.
Am I wrong?
It's pretty close. It's like you have Field Rush and then you have a card that makes it cost 2. And if you draw those 2 at the same time, you're probably just gonna win. Like if you draw
So
your
it's
cards
like
in the right
Targon's
order.
peak Field Rush.
Yeah,
Pretty much.
basically.
Yeah, that's about what
Okay.
it seems.
But yeah, other decks like you pointed out, like Lee Sin, are a little more involved. There's a lot of things you have to do, and then when it doesn't go well, you have to still try to like cobble together a win. So I think combo tends to be the hardest. the one that's always been the easiest for me are like these mid-rangey like big unit decks. Because I feel like I play one unit a turn, and then later in the game it transitions to 1 unit and 1 spell in a turn, right? So like
Overwhelm or something.
Yeah, like Overwhelm or even
Or
like
like
Demacia
Aesol.
Aesol was like incredibly
Aesol, right?
simple.
Yeah, that deck was.
Overwhelm was like my chill deck when I was like, when it was actually good on ladder. I was like, alright, I'm just turn my brain off. I'm just play Overwhelm, because I'll probably get like a 6% win rate, and it won't be hard to mess up.
Yeah, I mean, are there like edges to be gained? Yeah, like totally. The best players are still gonna be way better at those decks than I am. But like mid range, I feel like they're easier. Yeah. Now I personally struggle with aggro. I don't play it because I can't play it. I'm really bad with it.
Just attack, bro.
Just is what it is. So like it's just very difficult for me to play. So I'll never be like, yeah, you know, Pirates is hella easy, because I fuck it up all the time.
Yeah. So I want to jump on something I saw in chat, and I'm gonna throw this to Jay Sensational if you want to talk on it first, because this is your quote. But this is something that like I think is a really, really cool way to think about the game in general. Yeah, you buddy. The line was everything's a combo deck if you think about it hard enough. Do you want to explain that? Because I think that's real. If you were fucking around, then I'll own it. But if you want to follow that, then I'm gonna give it to you.
Sure. I'll start with sort of what I was talking about. And this kind of stems through. I was playing like a few combo decks. My favorites right now are like Ribbon Vi, and I even count Lurk as like a combo deck if you really want to. But I mean, any deck's combo decks or whatever. In the sense where like when you're thinking about a deck like Ribbon Vi, where you're planning out like a certain turn to go in for like the combo or like the lethal or whatever, you need to plan out how much mana you're going to need on that turn, and that might mean how much mana you need to bank from last turn or the turn before that, or think about how you want to play out your like cards to get to your combo before then, right? So even for like Poppy Ziggs, it could be like playing Mayor on 3 and then setting up 2 discounted cards on the next turn. And it's kind of just thinking about like how you want to spend out your mana. Like you can play Decimate this turn or Decimate next turn, and what does that mean for your board development, etc. And that's kind of where I think the game's a lot at. It's very similar for a lot of like the rally decks. Do you want to develop now or bank the 3 mana going to next turn so I can Relentless Pursuit, for example? And I think the game's just like really intricate in that way. It's just like weird how like different decks make use of that. Like deck like Field Rush, for example, I guess like it feels a little less than that. Like you just you have your control tools and like when you want to use them depending on like when your opponent plays whatever card that each card kind of answers. So I feel like it feels a little bit less than that, but otherwise it's like, you know, I need to play this card on turn 3 and then this card on turn 5 and then bank 3 mana going to the next turn. And that's where I feel like a lot of decks right now are actually at, which I really enjoy. And
I feel
Yeah.
I'm not saying I 100% support it, but if you wanted to like back that argument up, I think one of the genius of that comes from spell mana. I think spell mana is one of the best parts about Runeterra, and it allows you to have these like versatile ways to use your mana that makes it more combo-y. Because otherwise, it's like, I guess like Hearthstone, like, or I think when I was teaching Jason before we first started playing, and it's like he always want to use all of his mana because that's what you do in Magic. You want to max out your turns value. But this game's different and it allows it to be more like, okay, I set up here this. Now I bank 3, which lets me set up this turn on turn 7, which I think is really cool. I think it's a lot, but I really do think that spell mana is like the best thing like ever. Like design, I think it's amazing, and that's what part of what makes Runeterra as good as it is how genius it is.
Yeah, I mean,
it's like any deck can pretty much use spell mana, right?
Yeah. I mean, I don't really agree that just because decks have synergies that makes them combo decks. Like, I don't think that's necessarily apt description. I think that just kind of misses what combo in the sense means. Like, I think combo, when you think like, I guess like Lee Sin or something like that, it's like your cards, when they're put together, they multiply upon each other, like for like really explosive damage or stuff like that. That's what I think of combo. I don't think of like, oh, I discard my Lost Soul with an axe because I have Draven.
Combo,
that's
yeah.
Like that's
Yeah.
it's not really a combo deck.
What about I play my Draven so I pump up my Tri-Beam? Combo.
Combo, yeah. That
No,
seems
it's
like a
not
combo.
It's just
I think
synergy.
The way that
Not a
the
combo.
way that I was trying
I think
to
he's saying
think
you
of it-
can look at the game as a combo mentality. Obviously, the decks are not
Yeah,
combo.
of course.
Yeah.
The way that I was trying to think of it more than anything is
which
like
isn't a real
that...
thing, but people like enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
Can everybody hear Jordan? Is that just
mentality-
me?
No,
Hello?
I can't hear
cannot.
you.
I
just
can
came
hear
on
you.
for a second.
Okay, he's only in the stream. He's not in the actual OBS Ninja thing.
Yeah, I don't actually see him in our little
Bizarre.
So we can't see him.
in
I'll
Ninja.
answer him.
Use sign language.
He's trying to come back. So I'll go while he's trying to get back. I actually don't think there's really any combo in Runeterra.
What?
We have basically
Ooh.
like what Turbo Thralls.
Well, there's
Um,
Lee Sin and because Irelia.
No, no.
Lee Sin-
Podcast is over.
They-
Everyone avert your eyes.
They have
Every deck's
combo
a combo
elements,
deck,
but like
what do you mean?
every deck's a combo deck. But like combo. Like the things I like to
Eggs.
play the most are like decks
Eggs.
that literally like when like these individual cards cannot win you the game. So you have to like combo like Krark Clan Ironworks kind of combo decks, like Storm, Tendrils of Agony, like that. Those are the kind of combo decks that I love, and Runeterra doesn't really have them.
It's interesting
Wait,
you say that
we had
because
Infinite
in
for a
Yu-Gi-Oh, like every deck's a combo deck. Oh, there's two. There's combo and control. And there's nothing else. There's no aggro. It's
Yeah.
Either you're comboing or you're trying to stop someone from comboing. That's the whole game because there's no mana.
Yu-Gi-Oh's a
That's
dark
right.
game, man.
Everyone
Yeah.
just plays all their cards and pop,
Mhm.
they draw a million. Some you can literally summon like 50 cards a turn.
Sure.
So I think that like combo, Western Zero and Elite is like Runeterra's description of combo, in Runeterra.
They're different. Yeah, they're different, and that's totally fine. Like I love
Am I
Lee
this
Sin.
again? Hello?
Yep,
Right
you are
here?
back.
Yes, you're here.
You're back.
Yes! Okay, the thing I was trying to say before the internet decided to censor me is that I think the mentality of everything is a combo deck, even if it's preeminently untrue,
It's a
right?
constructive
Like, that's what
one.
y'all are talking about. Like,
Sure.
it's just not physically accurate. But the mentality of it in trying to think about your decks of what is my deck trying to do? How do I accomplish that? What are the pieces? Because when you think about a combo deck, the only thing that matters are your pieces and staying alive, right? And when you intentionally try to reduce any other given deck to that, then I think it actually really helps with deck building specifically. Because I see a lot of decks that are not nearly as streamlined as they would be, like what either on ladder or coming into my stream for reviews or anything like that. If the first thing anyone asked themselves on building decks were, what am I trying to do and how do I make it happen as quickly and efficiently as possible?
So I actually want to chime in on that. This is just me as a person. I mean, I think that deck building is my strongest suit. I love it. My favorite part of the game is I care about deck building in theory more than deck building, but the way I say it is like you first should build a deck max combo where you get all your pieces for max consistency of doing what you're trying to do, and then you have to like cut the unnecessary parts for like things that'll help against the meta. But I guess what I'm agreeing with what you're saying. It's like I think that you should start by making it a combo list as a shell. Imagine there's no enemies, and then you have to think about the meta after.
Yeah, like Zoe Nami is one of the strongest decks in the game, and I was talking about this with someone. It's like it's the strongest goldfish deck in the format, I think, and that's part of
Why
what
didn't
makes
we
it
call
so
that
strong.
deck Goldfish? Why did we not call that deck Goldfish? That was such a missed
Sorry.
opportunity.
I don't know. People decided to give it dumb names, but like, it's one of the strong. And if you don't know what I mean by goldfish, I mean you're playing like you're playing against a goldfish, someone with no interaction. Basically, you're playing solitaire. And so when your opponent doesn't have that interaction or has minimal interaction, like the deck with the better goldfish will win, and Zoe Nami has that. And so, did we have to kind of like bring it back a little bit, play a little bit more reactive cards? Yeah, but the shell is so good. I think we saw that as well with the Rubens deck, the original like Ionia Sivir Zed. It was incredibly combo focused, and then later on evolved to be more mid-rangey.
Yeah, exactly. With your refuges and stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
I 100% agree. The way I look at it, that's actually a great way to put it. Is goldfishy. The way I always looked at it when I was like building Yu-Gi-Oh decks, I'd say who wins engine versus engine, right? If you have like your deck's engine, your core engine, like let's say it's like the Nami and stuff, versus like Darkness's core engine, like Vigar, who would win engine? It's only you draw engine cards, and then obviously Nami would win, right? If it's not you, then you have to be teching for the meta or like to beat things, because otherwise you're just gonna draw like all your Darkness cards and get destroyed by Nami. So it's like you have to decide if you're the like mostly combo decks are the ones I feel like are the ones that are the ones
Who's
that are best.
faster?
They get to like go all in.
Like usually they
basically, on their
win. They
plan.
win if both things win head to head.
Yeah.
But that's what I'm trying to say. I won't use the word combo because it can be confusing here. I guess I'd say like if you're not the engine, you have to kind of somewhat be anti-engine.
No, I get what you're saying.
That
Like
makes sense.
the decks that win those, like, okay, if we both draw our best hand, who wins? The deck that always wins with its best hand gets to play less interaction,
Yeah.
right? Because
It's
if
kind
they
of
do
a
their
different
thing, they
version of Who's the
win.
Beatdown.
Yeah,
It's like a different version of Who's the Beatdown.
but yeah, it's from a different angle. It's like, can you
yeah,
stop
like,
me?
Am
right?
I the engine or? Yeah,
I don't need to stop you because I'm going to win. You have to stop me,
yeah.
right?
Why do I have to care about
Yeah.
what you're doing? Because what I'm doing will just beat you by default. I actually love those kinds of decks. It's part of why I actually flock to aggro in this game. Well, A, the consistency, but B, I in Yu-Gi-Oh! Against all combat decks, and I prefer to play the best engine and then have less like bricky draws of like tech cards and like wilds. But yeah, I'm with you. I like the engine analogy.
No, that's a really good. That's a really good way to look at it.
I just seized on that because I've been thinking lately more than anything when it comes to Runeterra about what are the wider themes, right? Like where's the break point where you can change your mental and become a better player overall, even if you're not looking at specific decision making. It's like instead of thinking about specific game or deck situations, I've been trying to think about trying to take a step back and say, how should we be thinking about these things instead of just starting to think about them.
It's funny
I
you
think
say
that's
that
that's very useful.
I'm bad at talking
first,
about
Nick.
again. I'm bad at
You're
talking
up, bud.
people. I interrupted them. So. Okay, well I was gonna say this is a random example, but there's this player named Tweak in Smash Bros. And like he actually took like a little bit off practicing to like read it's like a famous sports book. It's like how to get the mentality of sports or the tennis. You guys know what I'm talking about? It's like a super famous like sports mentality book. The point is he doesn't play sports. He plays Smash Bros. And he read it and he ended up winning the next major. And because he was like he wasn't thinking about how can I do better in this scenario in this matchup. He was thinking about like I need to work on my mentality as a person. Like how do I look at the game when I'm not actually in the
arena.
In the arena, exactly, in the fray.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's it's really important. It's actually the extra mile. That could give you a huge edge because most people don't do that. So if you do that, you're probably already in like a very small percent of people who do that, and that could matter a lot.
I don't think it's the extra mile. I think it should be the starting point. Yeah, because like if it doesn't really matter. There's so many positions in Runeterra. In like I guess if we're being specific about like Runeterra in particular has so many different positions. And you can look at one and be like, oh yeah, I should have done this instead. And you're never going to see that position again. So dwelling over it is completely pointless. Whereas things like improving your mindset and the way you think about the game is actually how you're going to make improvements, right?
Yeah. I mean, I've seen a ton of success. And I know Jason Florent can like kind of chime in on this too and hopefully agree. But I've seen a ton of success by taking things and matchups and kind of zooming out. And looking at like the big picture of the matchup, like what are the two things that matter and how do I boil them down to one sentence each, right? And then you get more of like the macro of how it works. So like even if maybe the micro's not working out in your favor, maybe they had that trick that one time or this combat doesn't look very good for you. As long like you now know where the game needs to go for you to win. So your whole game plan is focused on like steering the game in that direction, right?
Yeah, it's like a game plan.
You know what's interesting? We're almost talking about the same thing on like two different sides. Like on the one side, you're talking about building a deck and being like, what are the things that really matter and how do I do it fast and efficient? But the other side, you're talking about like, how do I figure out what my opponent's doing and like, how do I stop them? Or how do I do my thing against them so that I kill them? And like everything we're talking about is very like macro. It's very like high level, looking at like the game in general and stuff. And yeah, I totally agree. That's how you get an edge. That's how you become better, because everything Henneke just said is totally true. A lot of that stuff's pretty easy. The stuff that you do see over and over again, like my opponent played Zoe on 1. Like, do I kill it? Like, probably yeah. Like a lot of those examples of things that you'll see over and over again. Like trying to get that perfect is not like where you become better than other people because everyone kind of figures that stuff out.
That's like an edge, but. Like, no one's big level up was learning to win the Fior Shenmue, right? Like, that's one thing. Like, my big level ups came in, like, learning that passing is, like, really fucking good, right? That, like, passing is a system and kind of a play on its own. And that was, like, such a huge level up for me. It didn't come from learning how to navigate this particular matchup or how to best wring the most efficiency out of Draven Axes or whatever, right? So I think that would help a lot of people. It's kind of like zooming out a bit.
We have the lead balance dev saying, this game, you're in Runeterra, you're heavily favored if you do nothing first. Then it kind of shows how good that really is.
Yeah.
And everybody, that's actually one of the things that everyone talked about when the beta first started. I know that you said it came a bit later. When the beta first started, everyone was just playing whatever. The thing that separated the good players and the bad players, or not, sorry, not good and bad, the good players and the better players, is the better players would literally just keep saying passing is broken.
Just pass. Yeah, it's so insane. Yeah.
Like, you need to learn how to open pass, like when to open pass, and then that was like the thing to know. Like whenever someone was like come to your some streamers like how to get better, he'd be like, you need to learn how to open pass, and everyone's just like astounded. It was like a secret, not a secret, but like it was like the top of the town. It was like you, like if you know how to do this, you will win more, and it still stays true to this day. And again, more people know about it now, but
it's so hard.
It's intricate. It's not like you just do it. Like there's times to do. Like I had a turn earlier today playing a louder game, and I did a burst spell, and then I immediately played Desert Naturalist to kill one of my own things at a 5/4, and someone's like, why didn't you open pass? And I'm like, well, if I do it now, then he gets one less action for a blocker. So it's like, it's not as simple as you just open pass. It's literally just like, you have to know when and why and how to really abuse it. My favorite part of abusing open pass, because I played on Aggro, but I do like open passing a lot, is when they're strapped for mana.
Yeah.
I love
because then they got you know they have to play something. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, okay, I'll pass. You accept it, you're losing like 6 mana. But if you play something, now I'm playing with knowns, I know exactly what you're playing. I have my mana, so I can.
And you can react. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you have less to work with, and you know, like, oh, they played 4, they have 1 mana left. Oh, they can't sharp sight now, you know, and that's a huge deal. Otherwise, it's like you can't play on everything. So kind of like eliminating it.
Yep. If you're like wanting to be a better player, and you're okay, like kind of putting in some work to like get there, I highly recommend. This is for all you people in chat. I highly recommend you just pass all the time. Just in your games, go, okay, I want to play this card, and then instead just pass and just see what happens. Just do that like every single turn, and eventually you'll start to figure out when it's like actually really good. You'll lose quite a bit in the beginning, but like you'll start to like figure it out. And
you'll lose because you'll see like, oh, it's not the right play all the time, but you'll see like when it is. You'll be like, okay,
and you'll figure it out fast. And I guarantee you, it's going to be better, like way more than you think. Way more. I played a game recently, like over this last week, I think, where my opponent just I think I was playing like a lower level opponent, like not masters or something, and they just used all their mana every turn, and I was like, it feels like I'm cheating.
Yeah, it's like you don't have to play around things.
I just do whatever I want, and you can't stop me. It's insane.
I actually pass a lot in aggro. This is a very I mean, this is probably a terrible example because it's not really a thing anymore. But one of the main things in aggro that I would do is you play with Shadow of Freyord, you play your card, right? So you have 3 mana like left over, and they have 6. And if you attack, they just catalyst, so you just pass.
You just pass, yeah.
And then you're like, oh, if they pass back, a lot of players would be like, oh, I'm Shadow of Freyord, I'll just pass back. But it's like, okay, well, now you lost 3 mana, and I'm never letting go. Like,
and you have Fervor mana forever.
Yeah, exactly. I have tempo. I'm never letting you come back into the game because I'm just so far ahead of mana. So like aggro actually passes a good bit to screw people's mana, and a lot of people probably at first wouldn't really understand it. I think that's also what makes aggro players better, is that in order of operations, I think. Really.
I would totally agree.
Now they just take the pass and play Blighted Ravine though the next turn, and then you have to
pass. It's awkward.
That has ruined that a bit.
Ladder's awkward sometimes because like you're like, is this guy role playing and playing Ice Shard? There's no way he's playing Ice Shard, right? Like, usually most people don't, but like some people just do randomly, and you're like,
God, they got me. Yeah.
Yeah.
When we were testing for Worlds, a lot of times we were spectating each other's games, and like the whole group would be watching us play, like 2 of us play, right? And the most common question was, can we pass here? And do we accept this pass? Like, I think that was probably asked 5 to 10 times more often than like literally anything else. It was just always like, that was always the hardest decisions too, right? It's just like, can we pass here? Because if we can, I really want to. And if we can't, then we need to figure out what we're going to do from there. It's just such an interesting system. I think it's what gives Runeterra its depth, and if it didn't have that, it'd just be a pretty simple game.
My favorite thing to learn passing, not really a thing anymore, but it was Nightfall. Like, you pass with Dusk, or like and they always accept it. Once a move, they won't. But like passing with Stalking Shadows is pretty nice. It's like, oh, I played Stalking. Yeah. If they develop, I can just like die or punish you. And if they pass, it's like, well, I just got 3 cards then.
I've done that where you cast the Dusk Petal and you have nothing because you know they're gonna pass back and then you end the turn. You're like, got him. I used to do that with Aphelios every now and then where I'm like, God, I have nothing. I really need them to cast nothing this turn.
that's smart. No,
So you go like, yeah,
Okay, that's
so they just burn a whole turn. You're like,
but you pay 1 to make them end their turn.
mm-hmm, yeah.
That's kind of smart.
That's kind of broken.
It was really good.
And also, like the flip side of the coin is like people like we tell people to like burst pass a lot. Like when you like guiding touch, oh, let's take a pass and see what your opponent is gonna do, and then sometimes just like give up an extra action and you get punished by it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So it's definitely like a very complex two-sided coin that I really enjoy. It's
Mhm.
really good.
Me too. Me too. I think as the game has developed, like you said, people were talking about it in beta. I think it's just become more and more of like you said, a known quantity. Kind of like now people know in order to be like a top level player, you have to understand the passing system. But it's so hard to like teach. It's
Yeah.
so hard.
It's funny because like on ladder I'll play versus people, and like even if I'm playing with someone versus like 500 LP, it's ladder doesn't mean they're good. So some people play with 500 LP like won't pass in spots they're supposed to, and some will. So I never know if they're actually good or not. And like I have myself thinking so often like they do something, please don't pass, please don't pass, please don't pass. Like I think that like almost every other game there's a spot where I'm like, please don't be good and pass because that would just screw me so hard. Now if they don't, I'm like, I win. If they do, I'm like, all right, this guy's good. Like I gotta at least like I don't think he's good at everything, but it's like I really gotta work for this one. It's
Yeah.
not gonna be some like easy because if they pass it once in the early game, you're like, okay, well he clearly understands the concept. He'll do it later when it's even more impactful and it's even more annoying. So I just think please don't pass so often. That just kind of shows how strong it really is to just pass.
People gonna end this stream, jump on Runeterra, and just like pass all the time and just drop
annoying,
LP.
I will get on to farm them.
Yeah, and then be like, Bae, this didn't work. You lied to me. Just get open attack to death.
Passing when it's bad is like you'll do it a lot at first, but it's a lot harder. Like once you know when not to
Yeah.
pass, like you just like you see your mana, you think about their options. It's like I guess one of the easiest. This doesn't mean it's right or wrong to pass on situation. When I'm coaching people, I always ask them, you have to think first thing, does passing benefit you more than them?
Yeah.
And like that really depends on kind of your deck. Because like in aggro, you could have spots where, oh, why would I pass you? They lose a bunch of mana. It's like okay, that's true, but at the same time, like if they're gonna stabilize in the late game, it's bad. So it's really harder with aggro. But certainly, like, you're playing control. It's like does passing benefit me? Like most of the time, probably. Because like the late game, you're gonna win. So I ask people that. It's not like a yes or no, but it's an easy way to kind of guide you in the right way of thinking.
Yeah.
Like if it benefits me, like more than them, why? And what are they likely to do if pass happens? And how will the game be in 2 turns if you pass here?
Yeah. And even if
it's not
you're
always-
When
Go
we're
ahead.
talking about something like this, I wanna touch on something that totally different concept, right? But we talk about in teaching drama classes, right? We talk about teaching people to emote, and when you look at really high level actors, they actually don't that much. But the thing is, the base level human won't do it on stage at all, and it kind of falls into the same category. If you don't know this is an option, you're not going to be looking for when to take it. So what we're saying here isn't that passing all the time is necessarily a good thing. It's that to train yourself to look for those moments, even if it's going to hurt for a little while, one of the ways to do that is to intentionally look for every moment to do it, even if in acting it would make you a terrible fucking actor, and here if you're going to lose a lot of LP. It's if you are looking to get better at the game, sometimes they're called learning points.
So what Jordan just said is actually like that's actually perfectly said how you get good at everything in the world.
Yeah, that's I've used that
you
for
don't
so many
care.
things.
I have to teach this to people when I coach so often. I'm like, you don't care if you lose. Losing is actually better than winning because you learn more from losing because you obviously you most likely made a bit more mistakes. So it's like it doesn't matter. Like I say people with stream sniping, it's like, oh, you think you'd snipe a lot? I'm like, the community seems smart enough to understand like it's more about learning than winning. Like winning you don't get anything. LP doesn't mean anything. You get nothing.
Something beautiful game.
Yeah, so
Something.
It's all about
Rank 1 this season.
It's all about learning. All that matters is losing. Yeah, and then learning. Like example, I think in like Super Smash Bros, the game I play on the side. Sometimes it's like it's not about winning. It's about you have to try new things and lose, or else you'll just be stuck in your comfort zone. You'll never get better. It's also why a lot of the better players have some of offlandish decks sometimes, and people are like, this deck like Nick, this deck you're trying looks like trash. Like, why are you even playing it? So I'm like,
Yeah.
well, it probably is. But if I didn't try it, like, I mean,
We never know,
I'm
yeah.
trying to learn. Like, I'm
Yeah.
trying to learn. Like, is there even a little thing I can take away from this like deck at all? Like, maybe I learned the deck sucks, but this one card could be good in something else because I don't know. You know, it's the point
Yeah.
I'm trying to say is what Jordan said. It's not about winning. It's about playing a beautiful game and learning. It's more about learning. Learning's the whole point.
Yeah, I think I have an example and something to add on to that. I think that's also like the cure for like ladder anxiety. Whenever people ask me, they're like, I get really anxious on ladder, especially coming up on the breakpoints of like into the next rank. Like, what do you do about ladder anxiety? It's like, I do not give a shit if I lose, because like I'm focused. I don't queue up a game to win the game, right? I queue up a game to like play the deck and get better with the deck and learn and stuff.
Exactly.
So it helps
Play to learn, not to win.
it helps my tilt, it helps my anxiety. An example of exactly what we're talking about is when I played lacrosse in high school, I would never go left-handed because you use both hands, right? In lacrosse, you can use your right hand top and your left hand, and so I would. Oh, see ya. Thanks for coming by, dude. I would force myself for weeks to every time I had the opportunity to dodge to the left instead of the right, because I just couldn't do it at all before. And then after the few weeks of constantly getting beat up and the ball taken away, I could now dodge left. And like my brain realized that was like an option now. I didn't just auto default to the right. And so while it was really bad for me for like 2 weeks, after that I became a much better player because of it. And I think that's like exactly the same thing, right? Maybe it's not good right now, but if you work on it and you learn from it, it'll make you much stronger later.
Yeah. Gotta build yourself a toolbox, you know?
Yeah.
Put some tools in it.
Is that what you do with toolboxes?
I don't know. I'm too young.
Do you own a toolbox or?
I don't own a toolbox.
Yeah.
I have a
But you'd imagine if you had one, like that's what you would do.
Yes.
Hennigy's imaginary toolbox has
I would
many
put tools in it.
Anything else you wanted to go over really quick? Now that we lost Mr. What Am I?
Want to play your tournament next week or this week?
Yeah, go ahead,
Oh,
Jason.
yeah. Good call. Tournaments next weekend. Saturday morning is EU, $300 tournament. Sunday morning is NA, $500 tournament. Last chance to practice for seasonals, because literally seasonals is the weekend after. So
Fuck man.
Dude, I
Let's
didn't
go.
know that. I don't know why I thought it was the 20th. Like I thought I was chilling.
Nope.
Good thing you came on today.
Yeah, right.
Honestly, yeah. Like I actually need to get my like LP up because I want to be in the 7 too.
I
I would've
am
been
not sure if
chilling.
I'm gonna do that. I'm probably gonna play the next like few days, and if I end up at like 400 or 500, like 400 or whatever, I'll probably just like go for it. But if not, I'm just not gonna sweat it. I feel
The
like.
strat is just like if you get a streak, then like just do it. and
Just
if you
run it,
don't,
yeah.
like, whatever. Like
hmm
it's not gonna hurt to try because the thing is like having 4 LP is like no different from having like 150 LP.
Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Yeah.
hmm Totally with you. All right, guys. Thanks everybody. Thank you, Nick, for coming on.
No.
It's always great to
problem.
have
Thanks,
you.
Nick.
Coming out.
Love having you,
Okay.
dude. If you guys haven't already, make sure you go follow this. He's this way on screen. Nick Makes Plays. I'm sure you know him. If you're in the community, you've probably seen his stuff. Check him out. We're all pointing in different directions.
Alright, thanks, guys. I'm gonna head
Oh,
out now.
this was all.
All right.
All right.
Bye, guys.
Have a
I'll
good
see you
night.
guys later.